is my next guest, Kevin Olusala. If you are an a cappella fan, then you might even know Kevin because he is part of an a cappella group that has gone platinum. He is a member of the Grammy-winning vocal quintet Pentatonix. Kevin Olusala is here, or KO as he goes by. He is the beatboxer for the group. And since bursting onto the music scene in 2011, the group has sold more than 2.7 million albums in the US alone. They won a Grammy, and Pentatonix has played for sold-out venues worldwide. You may actually recognize them from their performance in the popular movie Pitch Perfect 2. Now, more about Kevin specifically and why I wanted him to be on the show and why he's so money. From an early age, Kevin began learning how to play the piano, the cello, and the saxophone. He went to Yale, where he was pre-med, and also majored in East Asian studies. And while he was there, he began developing this thing called cello boxing. And in 2001, he created a YouTube video that went viral about cello boxing. It was featured on CBS, AOL, Huffington Post, among many other websites. He was also named one of the 100 history makers in the making by NBC's The Griot, and was hand-selected by Quincy Jones to represent him in concert at the 2012 Montreux Jazz Festival. Pentatonix was also the first a cappella group to receive Forbes 30 Under 30. All 5 members made the list, and Kevin is here with us today talking about, well, how you break it into the music world, how YouTube actually helped them launch their careers, the disappointment that his parents experienced when they learned their son was not going to become a doctor and pursue a cappella, and what he is learning from Quincy Jones, someone he considers to be his mentor. Here we go, Kevin Olusala. Kevin Olusala, welcome to So Money. Pentatonix taking over the world. You are music royalty right now. Welcome to the show.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. And that's so kind of you to say all those things. I mean, I just feel very blessed to be on this journey, and it's been an amazing one for sure.
Well, I want to get into that journey. I'm so envious and so admiring of everything that you've put out so far as a young person trying to break through in the music world. I love this story that you have, you and your, I guess your a cappella group, your teammates. What would you call them? Your singing teammates, or what's the term?
I'll say my bandmates.
Your bandmates. Are you? Because do you play instrument?
Yeah.
You also, I know you play the cello, and you're very instrumental. You guys got dropped by your record label, right?
Yeah. What happened was that we won the Sing Off, this TV show on NBC for a cappella. And right after we won, we got signed to Epic Records, but then immediately afterwards, we got dropped by the label. We just didn't, I think it was not necessarily a place where we felt like we could collaborate, and we weren't sure if they took what we were doing seriously. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise, because that meant we could kind of forge our own path and learn more about who we were as musicians first and foremost.
And so you took to YouTube, and 1 billion views later, 1 billion. Here we are. I think you guys went, is it right? You went platinum last year?
Yeah, we went platinum last year for our Christmas album.
That's incredible. Well, let's go back in time a little bit, Kevin. You probably never thought you'd be here, right? You were at Yale majoring in East Asian studies. What did you want to be?
Well, actually, I was an East Asian studies major, but I was also pre-med. My dad's from Nigeria, and my mom's from Grenada. And my dad's a psychiatrist, and my mom's a nurse. So my goal was to be a doctor, but continuously do the things that I loved, like music and Chinese. And at one point, I thought that I was going to be a doctor in China, serving there. So that's what I thought I was going to be doing. Are
you maybe going to go back to that at some point? Or are you trying to really pursue music and see how far you can go?
I think now I've realized how much I love music, and I feel like I've started to understand what's unique about what I do as a musician. And so I kind of want to continue projecting that to the world and figuring out what makes me tick musically, because I love it, and music has such a reach that I want to be a part of.
You said briefly that after you were dropped from your label, it was an opportunity in disguise. Your group was able to have a powwow, figure out strategy. How were you going to be unique and stand out? What was that process like for you and your bandmates? How did you ultimately decide your next steps. And take me to that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the great thing is that we had a great team around us, especially with our manager, Jonathan Calter. He told us, I think, this is a great opportunity for you guys to showcase who you are unapologetically without anybody telling you who you should be and building the fan base that you want to build. And YouTube is an amazing resource for that. I mean, users of YouTube is growing exponentially. And so we thought that with what we do, acapella is not something that you have to just hear, but you need to see happen, because you're not going to believe that the bass singer is singing that low, or me with the beatboxing, that all the beats are coming from my mouth. And so we thought that YouTube would be a great way to do that. And we kind of started to figure out what people loved and didn't like about our music videos. And we just continued to hone in on those strengths, in addition to how we arrange. And it was great because it got us to a point where, now we've probably done more than 150 arrangements in our career. You're
from Owensboro, Kentucky. You've seen probably more of the world now than most people do at age 80, because your music has taken you so many places. Tell me your favorite part of all of this. I can only imagine that every day is different. You guys, this career has taken you to incredible locations, meeting amazing people that you only maybe have before read about or seen on TV. Now you're considered part of the mix. But what's for you the most special part of this?
Oh my gosh. I think that one of the coolest things about this job is that no day is the same. It's continuously changing, from going on tour to coming back to your home and working in the studio on music, to working in the studio on tour itself, to performing on award shows, to traveling around the world and meeting different people like dignitaries and other musicians and fans. Just to be able to do that is truly a blessing, and to have to have a life that is continuously changing fluidly is really, really amazing. And I'm so thankful for that. I think the other thing is to be able to, as an entrepreneur, I think one of the things that we get to do is learn about ourselves and figure out what makes us tick, and what are our strengths and weaknesses. And the most humbling way to do that is by being an entrepreneur, because your success rides on your ideas, on your creativity, your uniqueness, and understanding what your strengths and weaknesses are, and finding the other people that can help you realize the dreams and the goals that you might collectively have. So, understanding yourself is such a cool part of this journey as well.
And I feel such profoundness. I mean, you have, I feel like, aged 10 years in the 2 years that you've had this phenomenal success. And now you're talking about how entrepreneurship is really the way. But going back 4 years, when you were, say, in college, I don't remember how long ago you were in college, but the path that you were thinking you were going to take was much different. You've changed your mind a lot. Do you attribute it to basically this opportunity that you've been riding, or did you always see yourself being entrepreneurial?
Oh, no, I didn't think I had an entrepreneurial bone in my body, to be completely honest with you. The things that I knew was that I could study well and I could practice, with my cello and, practicing language, for example, Chinese. I think both of the skill sets are very comparable. And so, and once again, with studying, same thing. If I can study something, I'll be good at it. And so that's what I thought I could do, but I didn't think entrepreneurship fell into the same category for me, because entrepreneurship, it seems that you have to have a certain guts and inherent feeling about certain things, and to be able to look at the world around you and to be able to analyze and these things that I truly, to be completely honest, didn't think I had the skills to do. But I think as I decided to become an entrepreneur, I think those traits started to grow and they became an acquired skill set. I don't necessarily know if it was something that was inherent in me, but I just continuously looked up to people that I saw that were great entrepreneurs in music and in so many different fields, and tried to understand what was it about their entrepreneurial spirit and their skill set that I could take and learn from.
What are you learning the most in this journey? You mentioned in Forbes that, and by the way, we should mention that Pentatonix, first a cappella group to receive 30 under 30. Quincy Jones, you said, is your dream mentor. What is it about Quincy that you admire, and do you hope to follow in his footsteps?
Well, the first thing is I love Quincy Jones. He's somebody that I've actually had the pleasure to work with. He tweeted me in February of 2012 and asked me to go to his home. And so I went to his home and I played for him. And then he asked me to go around the world with him to perform. And so I did that in Marshall, Switzerland. I did concerts. I did other things for him, like recordings. And so he's somebody who I really admire, and I love his team. And the thing that I love about him after reading his autobiography is that he was somebody that was such a voracious learner and a student of all different types of things, not just music, but of politics, of economics, of how he can utilize his gifts and talents to better this world. And that's something that I've always loved, because I think, as a musician, the money you make, if you will, might not come from just touring. It could come from songwriting. It could come from producing. It could come from, writing songs for TV shows. And he did it all. That's the coolest thing about him. He did it all. And he did it so well because he was such a voracious learner. And that's something that I've always admired about him. And it's something that I've always, tried to pride myself in and try to continuously be a student of him for that.
You've done a lot of interviews, I suspect, in the last year, given the fame and notoriety of Pentatonix. But in this show, we're going to talk a little bit about something that you probably never have talked about, and that's money, personal finances.
Yeah, I know, right?
You brave soul. You decided to come on this show and unleash your financial ideas and habits and perspectives. So let's get to that aspect of your life. Kevin, what would you say is your money mantra, if you have one?
Yeah, you know what? I would probably say it's make your money work for you so that you can do your life's work. And what I mean by that is that money is, I think, to me, is an opportunity to be able to be financially stable so that I can do the things that I believe I'm called to do, whether it's music, whether it's doing anything in cultural diplomacy. I want to be able to be financially stable so that I can continuously do those things that I believe is my life's work, and I can give my whole self to those things. So that's why I always say I need to make my money work for me, in terms of unearned income, in terms of investing, so that I'm able to do those things.
Pentatonix has gone platinum, which means you sold over 1 million, right? 1 million, or 1 million records or downloads. And
yes,
right. And was there also a Grammy on your resume?
Yes, I can't believe that we're nominated.
Oh my goodness! So, and just feed our curiosity here. What's the money like? I mean, you have to tell us numbers, but are you as Pentatonix rolling in the dough? Like, how does that world work as far as success and money? I'm sure there are a lot of people you have to pay, and when you are with a label, that's potentially money that you have to pay off the bat. But how does it work with your pay? I mean, do you get a paycheck regularly, or you just sort of have to wait long periods of time before the money comes in? How do you manage your money as well?
Right. I mean, well, I feel like as entrepreneurs, sometimes kind of you're living by when certain things happen. And so when we're on tour, after the tour, you settle the tour and then you figure out how much is made, and then it's split evenly amongst us. Or, with songwriting or album sales, it's the same thing. You wait for a certain period of time, usually quarterly, and then after that you figure out how much comes in and then you split accordingly. So, I think that's kind of how we've done it in terms of that sense. But, the great thing about running a business is that you get to employ people to help you do what you do best. And that's such an important thing, because, a lot of people, I think, say, we can figure this out ourselves. We can just do this on our own, when I think they're sometimes missing out on a great opportunity to employ people that are so good at a certain skill set, to help you run your business more effectively. So I think that's one of the things that we've definitely done. Try to figure out those people that can help us run our business effectively, whether it's a label in terms of promoting our album, a manager that can help figure out how we can do all the different projects of our life. Whether it's our touring crew, whether it's our songwriting crew. You need all these people to help you do those things. And yes, obviously it's costly, but at the end of the day, it's going to help you do what you do best and help the overall financial goal of your team so much better. So, we're blessed. We're blessed to be in the monetary position that we're in.
You're a 5-member group, and that has to mean that sometimes you don't always agree on things. How does the group problem solve, and how do you ultimately proceed with big decisions, if there's somebody who's on the fence? In some ways you're very lucky in that you have been so successful with 5 members, because that's, how does the band keep it together, I guess, is my question.
No, completely. That's a very, very important question, because there's definitely a lot of times we disagree, creatively, about how certain things should go on tour. We definitely disagree. But I think that for us actually is one of the most important things about what we do. It's because of those disagreements, we can figure out what will work better. And because of that, we finally will come to a consensus on what is best for the piece of music or for the band. And we all finally, when we know we get to that solution, we know we've thought about every single possibility. And so we really talk it out. I mean, we talk it out, and we're very honest with each other, which is so important during conversations. Say exactly what you want to say, respectfully, obviously, but definitely say what you need to say to make sure your point gets across. I think we're all very good at understanding each other and what we all want. And so we could figure out and come to a common ground for what's best for the band.
Like I said, I feel like the experiences your group has had in the last couple of years, it's priceless. You've been exposed to so much. You've had to make some really big decisions. You've traveled the world. I feel like you're 30 under 30, but maybe you're like going on 40. As far as like your exposure to the world. It's amazing. What an experience. Okay, tell me this. You talk about how your parents are really your role models. What was your experience as a kid growing up as far as your introduction to money? What's your biggest money memory as a kid growing up?
No, that's a good question. I mean, I would say it probably falls in line with my same mantra in terms of making your money work for you, right? And so my dad, he's somebody that loved the stock market. It's something that he could continuously study whenever I was younger, and he obviously still does now. And so I remember just sitting on his lap and him just teaching me, hey, Kevin, I want to show you about the stock. I want to show you how this works. And one of the things he always taught me was that, the graphs don't lie. So he would make me look at the Bollinger Bonds. He would make me look at the MACD. He'd make me look at the slow stochastic. I can't even say that word very well. But, he made me research these things and look at them and say, okay, what should be the next step? Should we sell this? Should we keep it? So what does it look like in the long term? And he made me analyze it so I can get a better understanding of that. And he says those graphs won't lie in terms of how you can make your next decision. And so that's something that I always remember. So it's something that I really appreciated from him about understanding how to invest your money and how important making your money work for you is.
I think you're one of the first guests I've had who has said that growing up, their parents taught them about investing. I think that's usually at the end of this episode, I ask, what's one thing you wish you had learned about money growing up? And everyone's like, investing, compound interest, the stock market. Wow. That's amazing that you had that introduction at such a young age. Do you invest your money now?
Yeah, absolutely. In stocks, in real estate, things like that. And, and also I think investing in my personal self. And when I say that, I think that's something that I've always learned from people like, reading about Oprah. Investing in yourself is so important. So that means, finding books to read that are self-help books. If the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People or autobiographies of people that you really enjoy. For myself right now, I'm learning a new music program called Ableton, which allows you to produce music on the fly. So it's a great tool for live music. So I'm learning that now because I'm thinking about my own musical career, and I'd like to be able to do that with my own shows. And then in addition, I'm songwriting a lot, not just for the band. And so I study a lot of musicians and try to understand what they do. And so, that takes time and money, obviously. And also I'm writing an album at this very moment for myself.
Gosh.
and I've been taking a lot of voice lessons, and obviously that's costly too. But I feel like for the next step of where I want to go, that's really important. So personal investing is such an important thing because if you invest in yourself, you can never go wrong.
Would that be your biggest advice for millennials? It's for me, I think that's something that I always tell young people who are younger than me, that use your 20s to really take advantage of the fact that chances are you don't have a big family that you're financially supporting, it's really just you. And so be selfish, take advantage of that, fuel your brain, get all the experiences you can, travel. And I think that's really what the 20s should be dedicated to. What would you say to that?
I completely agree. It's crazy to me how many people I see that kind of just sit around and maybe just watch lots of TV or, are idle. And I just keep thinking to myself, man, there's so many opportunities to read. There's so many opportunities to learn about something, to learn about social media, to learn about a different instrument. And not that everything has to be towards your main goal. However, all these different ideas that you learn, you have no idea how they're going to help you. And so I just feel like just take the time to get all the experiences and the life lessons and the tools that you feel like you're going to want as an individual, especially when it comes to money. I mean, I really take the time to read a lot, whether it's, a real estate book, whether it's about things like Michael Jackson Inc., this book that was written by actually a Forbes guy named Zach Greenberg, who went to Yale, about how Michael Jackson built his business. And it's an over a $1 billion business,
wow,
even after his death. So understanding those things, I think, is so important because then it gives you kind of an idea and sparks your brain in terms of how you want to personally live your life and how you might want to be your own entrepreneur or whatever type of success you want in life. I think it's such an important thing to do.
Reading. Who knew? Reading books. I just bought the book, The One Thing, which I know I'm really late to read, but I
don't even know about that book. What is that?
It's basically a book. The last name of the author is it's one of the founders of Keller Williams Real Estate Agency, which is it's just like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, real estate agency in the country by sales.
I definitely know them.
Okay.
I definitely know them.
Yes, you know the name. So the author's name it escapes me, but basically it's about how multitasking is not productive, that the way to succeed in life is to have focus and sharp focus specifically on one thing at a time, and how that can create a massive domino effect in your life. And it's hard for people to really, I think, embrace that philosophy just because we're raised, multitaskers are heroes, where it's like a bragging right. Well, I was able to accomplish 8 things at once. But his theory is that it's not even just his theory. He pulls out a lot of data and study that, actually when your brain does not have the capacity to do multiple things at once well or to completion. So while we may feel it's tough to just focus on one thing at a time because we feel like we're giving up on so many other things, that actually can be lead you to greater success. It's very interesting. And again, it's not a new book. It was a #1 Wall Street Journal bestseller. It was a #1 Amazon bestseller. It was on the New York Times bestselling list. And it's been around for a few years, but I just finally got a chance to read it. I was at the airport and, I needed some plain reading. So I spent a lot of money on the book. I probably could have gotten it for cheaper on Amazon, but I bought it in one of those stores. And so I will be finishing this one because I feel like I need to get my money's worth. But anyway, wow. I digress. Tell me about your biggest financial failure, because you can't be perfect.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, that's very true. I think one of them is just, I think as the band got more successful, I think one of the things I didn't do well was budget. It's something that I didn't really do in the beginning. And I think I was just kind of one of those people who was like, oh, it'll be okay, money will come. And then I'll never forget, there was one time I can think of when, there's this jacket that I wanted that our stylist presented to us. And it was a crazy amount of money, like crazy. And I saw it and I was like, ooh, I want it, but I didn't even give any thought to how much it cost. And then, I looked at the bill and I was like, wait, I bought that? Now, granted, I use it a lot, but still I was like, I'm not going to use it for that much. But, it's just one of those things where I didn't realize how important budgeting is. And so that's something that now I'm trying to do a lot better, especially this year. That's been kind of one of my mantras. And so, yeah, budgeting is something that I'm trying to do because before, boy, I did not do that.
I know. It's amazing what happens when you actually look at your bills or you look at your statements.
Yeah,
You're like,
exactly.
wait a minute. I spent how much money on Uber last month? Yeah.
Exactly. Well,
Uber.
for me, like, I love to go out for dinner with like friends and stuff. And granted, a lot of it, I always try to make sure a lot of times I'm going out with friends that I know are business people that I would hang out with anyway. And so obviously it's a business expense that way. So I always try to make sure that's the case, or a lot of the times. But even so, those can rack up, and so it's just difficult.
Okay, let's talk success. Your number one so money moment.
Oh my gosh, I would probably say it's when I paid off my college loans. It was last year when I got to do that at the beginning of the year because once again we went platinum, and with that when we got the money for what we made off the Christmas album, I was able just to pay it all off. And I was just so thankful because that's such a big debt. And I went to Yale for undergrad. I also went to boarding school. And so to finally be able to do that, it was such a weight off my shoulders because now I finally thought, okay, now I can finally start investing in the things that I want to invest in, whether it be real estate or more stocks or, maybe it's tech, VC. I get that opportunity to do that.
How about your number one money habit? What's something that you practice consciously that you do it because it helps you with your money management?
You know what? One of the things that I've done, which I'm really happy about, is that I started doing it last year, and it's basically looking at your net worth. I was reading an investing book, and it talked about kind of looking at your net worth monthly, seeing how much you've made, how much you might have lost, looking at all your assets, looking at all your liabilities, whether they're long-term or short-term liabilities and assets, and it gives you kind of an understanding of your whole financial picture, and that kind of informs me in terms of, okay, well, that case, I need to budget this much for my recording project, budget this much for food and things like that. And it helps me curb my spending a little bit better. So I think looking at your net worth very often and understanding, okay, well, where do I want to be at the end of this year? What do I need to do to get there? That's something that's been really helpful.
Do you use any tools? What are your favorite apps or budgeting tools, if you have any?
Oh my gosh. There's obviously mint.com. There's one that I've been really enjoying, and not in terms of money management, but for understanding investing. It's a real estate app. I cannot even think of the name right now. It's so crazy, but it's all about real estate. There's one called LoopNet that I really love. Redfin, Zillow, obviously, just looking at places and just kind of understanding different real estate markets. I love doing that. CNBC, I like looking at that at times.
I think you're my brother from another mother. I think.
Oh, really?
I'm obsessed with real estate. I don't own, I have one home, but I just love looking at homes, the interior of homes, looking at prices, imagining myself living there. I think I was a real estate agent in a former life, or that is something that I will be in the future. Just love it too. It's my favorite section of the New York Times on the weekends. I'm obsessed.
Oh my gosh, I am right there with you. I mean, I love reading about it. I mean, the thing I love is that, after starting to understand how real estate works a little bit, I started reading so much about different real estate investors. And, one thing that Warren Buffett talked about, I don't know how much of a real estate investor he is, but I know one thing he said is that, compared to appreciation, I think the most important thing is making sure cash flow is continuously and readily available. And so that's something that I've always kept in mind. So, that's why for me personally, I understand people might buy houses and things like that, fix them up, and then also sell them. But the thing I personally love more is the idea of investing, whether it's commercial real estate or something like that, and continuously getting cash flow, knowing that this place is going to appreciate, but that cash flow is so important, and to have readily, cash readily available to do other things with it, whether it's invest in the stock market or other things, whether it's to pay off your child's, tuition for private school, if you will. That cash flow is so important.
Yes, for sure. Okay, let's do some So Money fill in the blanks, Kevin. You've been such a fun and inspiring guest. Let's see what your where your train of thought leads you on these sentences. Okay, if I won $1 million, or if I won the lottery, rather, if I won the lottery, because that's more than $1 million. And if you were paying attention to the last lottery, it was like over $1 billion. But if, let's say, you won the lottery, I know, right? Did you buy a ticket?
No, I did not.
Neither did I.
Enough, one of our members bought like 30 tickets and he didn't win anything. He was so sad.
That's interesting. Which one? Which one of the Pentatoni bought a ticket?
It was it was Scott. He bought like 30 tickets. I saw it on Twitter and I was like, really, dude?
Do you think he would have shared the money?
I don't know. I don't think
He
so.
would have been out. He would have been like, Pentatonix is now down to 4 members.
Exactly. That's so funny.
So if you won the lottery tomorrow, the first thing you would do is?
The first thing I would do is pay off all the debts that my family has in general. Oh my gosh. If I can do that, I know that will make my whole family happy. And my brother, he's at Columbia for medical school, and my sister, she's at University of Kentucky for pharmacy school. So like just paying off all those debts would be great, so they don't have to even think about it anymore.
Your parents must be so proud, beside themselves, just to think that their children have become so accomplished. Tell me though, was your mom a little bummed or your dad a little bummed that you didn't become a doctor?
Oh my gosh.
Like every parent's dream.
He was so confused. He's like, I spent all this money for you to go to boarding school at Andover, for you to go to Yale for undergrad, and now you're deciding to go to music? That makes no sense. There's no guarantee. And, he's obviously, that's kind of, I think, culturally a mentality when it comes to foreigners coming to the United States. So it was very difficult for him to get on board at first. But once he started to see that, once again, as an entrepreneur, I had a unique way of thinking about music with cello and beatboxing, and then with Pentatonix, and he saw the success starting to unfold, he was completely on board.
Yeah, I knew that question was going to get an interesting answer because your parents are immigrants, mine are immigrants. And likewise, in my household, education was number one. I don't know what my parents would have said if, even though, you've had the ultimate success with someone who's pursuing music it's in such a short period of time. But there's something about saying that our son is a doctor that it's not quite the same as saying like he's in an a cappella group. And especially for like an immigrant family where there's like not like, what are they going to tell their friends? What are they going to tell their friends?
Exactly. Oh my goodness. You do not have to tell
Did I hit a nerve? Yes.
Like, oh yeah, my son. Exactly. It's so hard. But I mean, that's why I'm very, very excited for the path and the success, because I hope this is an invitation to show so many people who feel like they have those gifts, who have the same type of cultural background, that if you really believe in what you have, and not only that, you really think you're thinking about it in a very different and unique manner that could change the way people do things, then try it. At least try it and at least go for it.
Yeah. All right. How about this? One thing I spend on that makes my life easier or better is?
Oh my gosh. I would say probably the self-help books. I mean, just reading about how you can do things better and how you can be more efficient as a person. Oh my gosh. I think it's great. And people need to do it a lot more.
My biggest splurge that I spend a lot of money on, but I love it and I wouldn't have it any other way is?
Oh my gosh. I would say, I don't know if it's a guilty pleasure. It'd either be food or travel, because I love traveling. This break actually took my girlfriend to Disney World, and it was really, really fun. And, obviously it was a lot, but it was such a cool thing to have that experience. And you just cannot take away those types of experiences. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to splurge. I don't care. It's New Year's. Let me have fun. Let's do it.
I think I would agree. Food and travel are my two biggest areas. All right. One thing I wish I had learned about money growing up. I know this isn't investing. So was there anything that you wish you had learned at an earlier age?
Man, when it comes to money, I wish it was about, honestly, how interest could eat up your life if you are on the wrong side of the interest kind of board. I didn't realize how... Man, just with loans and things like that, I was like, oh my gosh, I paid so much more than I originally thought I was going to pay, just because interest is a beast.
It is. But, you're talking student loans. So at least it wasn't like credit card debt, which has a lot higher interest.
Right, completely. But still, I mean, even if it's a lower percentage, it's still a lower percentage of tens of thousands of dollars. So it's still a good amount of money.
Okay. When I donate, I like to give to blank because...
Oh, man, I like to give to charitable organizations. For example, there's one called the Adventist Disaster Relief Agency, just because I love the work that they do. UNICEF, I think just what they do is absolutely incredible because, when you have money to give and you can give it to a child in need or to a disaster or so that people can be in relief, I mean, absolutely. We're so blessed to be in the United States and have all this infrastructure to be able to kind of save certain situations, and a lot of people don't have that. So I'd love to invest in those people who don't have those opportunities.
Okay, this is a random question, and I'm going to derail here for a second. Who are you voting for? Are you into this election right now?
Oh, my goodness. I don't like answering those questions because I know I'm going to get so much slack. It doesn't matter who you talk about, so I'd rather not.
Sure. Well, as a millennial, I don't know. Do you feel like any of these politicians are really addressing young adults?
I mean, it's hard, and I think that's kind of one of the reasons I truly believe in entrepreneurship is because, no matter the political situation, we need to take control of our lives. And we need to take advantage of the things that we have in this country to be able to do what we want to do, to be on top of the market and top of the political realm. And so that's why, I feel like with what Pentatonix has done, with the things that I want to invest in and the other millennials, what they want to do and invest in, we just have to take responsibility no matter what the situation is politically.
Excellent answer. And good, nice way to dodge the question, by the way. Last but not least, I'm Kevin. And how do you pronounce your last name again?
Olusala.
I'm Kevin Olusala, and I'm so money because...
Oh, man, that's so funny. I love this question. I'm so money because... How do you answer that question? I'm so money because I love what money can do for people and financial freedom.
All right. That's a good answer. And there's no wrong answer to that fill in the blank. I think that you, Kevin, and your whole Pentatonix group are such great leaders and such great role models for millennials and really anyone. I think your story about pursuing your passion and being strategic and working with your teammates and investing and reading. I mean, gosh, I've learned so much from you. You are 30 under 30, but you are wise beyond your years. Congratulations, and wishing you a fantastic year ahead.
Oh, thank you so much. We appreciate that.